morning, and welcome to this show. Remember, again, I've always reminded you it's a Tuesday morning, because Tuesday morning, this is when everything and every heart starts beating, because we have to meet in this show, leadership show, and talk about nothing else but leadership. Again, when I come, I have to remind you that the best thing to do when we say we are on is for you to call someone and say, go to Elevate TV, go to the Facebook account, go to our YouTube account, Elevate TV Kenya, and listen, write to us, ask a question, any comment to us is a blessing. It's such a blessing to know that this program has been touching people in this country and beyond this country. Some of you watching from out of this country, just know that it's because we value you, and just because this topic cannot be handled without bringing international people into it, because leadership cuts across geographical location, gender, and any other boundary. Leadership is key. We have always said in this show that leadership is everything. John Maxwell is saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. And today, we want to continue and talk about leadership. Leadership is wide. We have talked about many things. Today, I want to talk about leadership and delegation. Last time, our guest did an amazing work. The same guest, people wrote to us and they said, can we have him come back? And I said, Pale nyuma ya tent, I'll talk to him. If he agrees, he will come. If he will not agree, we are going to see how to bring him back. But guess what? He agreed to come. I don't have to pay him. I don't have to push him. He said, I'll be there, not just because of you, man of God, but also for the people listening. So we'll be here talking about leadership and delegation. Remember, my name is Apostle Patrick Muriithi Nyaga. You can also, go to YouTube account, Apostle Patrick Muriithi Nyaga, subscribe, because remember, I always come to you on Tuesday evening and other days talking about a story with Apostle Patrick. I'm a man who loves stories, and of course, when I talk about them, remember, nobody else can say the way I say it. My guest today is Pastor Erick, man of God. Please welcome, and know that we value you. We are happy to have you. Please greet us and tell us something about yourself.
Good morning, viewers. Praise the Lord. I'm excited to be back on this show. Quite an exciting show that is inspiring people on the topic of leadership today as we discuss delegation. We believe that you are going to invite many people, and you're ready with your notebooks and your pens to increase knowledge and to be inspired. I'm looking forward to an exciting show today. So welcome.
Thank you so much, man of God. And please know that I treasure you. And thank you that you accepted to come.
We thank God.
You know, when we began preaching, not many years ago, but of course, there's a couple of years, you'd go preach, and when you are done, somebody tells you, man of God, we can't pay you. And I think I would want to, what a way to open the show by saying we can't pay you. You know why? The kind of wisdom you release, the kind of advice you give us, the sacrifice of being here, such a great thing. And I want to say you are such a blessing.
We thank God.
And delegation.
Yeah.
Define it for us.
Delegation is a term that I think many people are used to, because we usually talk about delegates. Mm-hmm. So it's related to related to the word delegate, and I think it comes from that word delegate. Mm. So it's just to transfer responsibility from one person to another. Is to entrust people with certain specific tasks. That is what delegation is all about, and
yes.
It's one way in which leaders and managers seek to increase productivity of the organizations. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. I'm happy that you're able to connect delegation and delegate.
And delegates, yeah.
You know, there are things, there are words, English words that resemble, but they have different meaning.
That is true.
Like apologetics and apology. They are not the same.
They are not the same.
Yeah, and many others. So this one is rhyming so well.
Yeah.
So when we talk about delegation, in leadership. There are people who feel like in as much as delegation has to do with losing as an element of ceding, let me say ceding, some ground to another. But there are people who feel they are losing. Yeah, so before we even go further, tell us, are we losing? Do we lose? Because people have refused to delegate because they feel like they are losing. Do we lose?
Really, we don't lose through delegation. You see, the moment you've climbed into the arena or the space of leadership, you lose the right to think about yourself.
Okay.
You must think about the organization. You must think about the vision of the organization, the purpose of the organization. You don't think about it as giving others power and you losing.
Okay.
It's for the benefit of ensuring that the organization, that you are more effective in your leadership and the organization is achieving its vision and it's working on its purpose. So really you're not losing. You're making the organization better because through delegation you free up space so that you are able to focus on higher value tasks. You see, for example, sometimes we bog ourselves down with so many tasks that some may be unimportant to us or to be performed by people at certain levels of the organization. So when we delegate, one, we free up space to focus on tasks that are more important or tasks of higher value. Also, through delegation, we enable the people that we work with who are under us. We empower them.
Wow.
And we allow them also to contribute to the betterment of the organization. So we are not losing. The organization is benefiting. We are also, the one who delegates also benefits by freeing up space. Because sometimes when you want to do everything by yourself, you can be burnt out.
Yeah.
So it allows you to free space,
Wow.
to free time. And it also allows the people that you delegate to build certain skills, to develop skills. So it is a win-win, is a win-win for everybody, for the organization, for the leader, and also for the ones that you delegate to. So nobody's losing.
This has been a very heated debate, especially in the church circle, where a pastor feels like I delegated this, and they ran away with it. How far should you delegate, and when do you call it, recall it?
I think the key consideration for me when we are delegating, especially in the space in which we operate of the church, we must know what to delegate and what not to delegate.
Yes.
There are things you can't afford to delegate as a leader. They must lie on your desk where the buck stops. So as a pastor, for example, you must know what to delegate and what not to delegate.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you delegate, you must be able to know who you are delegating to and what results you are seeking from them.
Yeah.
Because you see, as a leader, you're also developing leaders under you. So one way of developing leaders is to empower them, to allow them to start working on handling certain responsibilities. So if you're going to do it yourself, really you are not going to raise up leaders under you.
Wow. Thank you so much. We are just starting the engine. My man is doing a great job. I always, I always say that when I'm on this side and you on the other side, I forget to interject. I forget because I am receiving, And, sometimes I forget it is an interview. I feel like I'm in school and I'm here and the teacher is talking and I need to just receive. But I keep on trying to interject. Otherwise, it will not be a show, it will be a class. One person listening, but of course, others listening. When we talk about leadership and delegation, and you have mentioned one thing that happens when you delegate, of course, you are increasing your sphere.
Right.
And And of course we know, as I have asked before, is there are people who feel like they have lost it by delegation. So that means there are things one need to understand when you are delegating.
Right.
There are principles,
Right.
you know. There are things for a person, for a leader, a leader needs to know about delegation before you delegate.
Before you delegate.
What is it that you need to know first before you delegate?
I think the first thing that you need to understand when you are delegating, the tasks that we handle fall within the matrix of important and urgent. Every task that we perform, every duty that we undertake, fall within that matrix. I usually prefer to use the urgent versus important matrix tool to be able to know what to delegate. For example, in order to decide what to delegate, you see, our tasks fall, you can have 4 quadrants. You can draw a box and draw a cross in between, so that you have 4 quadrants. So you have the, on the top column, you have the urgent and not urgent. Then you have the important and not important. So these tasks can be categorized into 4. Number 1 task, which is in quadrant 1, is the urgent and important. A lot of things that we handle are urgent and important. For example, in the family setup, when your little kid has poured hot water on himself, that is an urgent matter and also important matter. So that one acts on you. You don't have to wait to be called. You have to rush and act on it.
Yes.
So quadrant 1 and issues are tasks that are urgent and important. Quadrant 2 tasks are tasks that are not urgent but important. And most of the time, these are tasks that we neglect. But they are tasks that can help us reduce the urgent and important tasks. Quadrant 2 tasks are tasks like planning, clarifying values, preparing for the future. For example, let me give a good example, is that not many people are enrolled in gym, for example, or go for jogging. It is not an urgent matter, but it's quite important. So when you neglect it, and their medical conditions, now you realize that they have, you are not handling quadrant 2 item at that point. It is a quadrant 1 because it is urgent and important. It has become a quadrant 1 item because you neglected it to handle it as a quadrant 2 item. Quadrant 3.
You know, the way you are talking, you are making it very easy. I'm feeling like you should have a board here for you to know
just
that.
To explain.
But we are getting it very well. We have Gena Christine, thank you. She says, I'm tuned in. Titus Wambua, tuned in, thank you, sir. Wilbur Media 254, tuned in, thank you. Grace Muriithi, I'm here. Great staff. You know that person.
I know.
She is really watching. Then I have in Facebook, Wilbur Wanyonyi, tuned in. Busoro Kevin, watching. Joseph Watata, Kimani, Pastor, Eastland, well represented. Mitambo iko sawa. Salimia Pastor Erick.
Nimesalimika.
And then we have Florence Amandi, tuned in. Thank you, Florence. Remember, you can ask a question, you can do a comment, and of course you can tell us you are there and you are watching. Pastor Nashon, thank you so much. I have drawn my square. Amechukua kalamu na karatasi. Losarent Mwongera, tuned in. Thank you so much, Losarent. Let's continue. So, if you are not jogging or you are not doing gym, then you are neglecting the important thing. In as much as it is not urgent. One time it will be very urgent.
It will become urgent and important. You have to rush to the doctor because there's some unbearable pain that you may be feeling. It's because you didn't exercise. It's because you didn't watch your diet. You see, quadrant 2 tasks are tasks that don't act on you, but you need to act on them. Quadrant 1 tasks are tasks that act on you. You must move.
The urgent one.
The urgent and important one. You will not postpone. So if we manage quadrant 2 tasks very well, then we are going to reduce the size of quadrant 1.
Wow.
Which are urgent and important. There's a call that when you see now on your phone, you may close the show.
Yeah, it is true.
Because it's urgent and important.
Yeah.
So there are such tasks. So tasks in quadrant, let me go to quadrant 3 and 4, then I
need to make a disclaimer that nobody should call me to see whether it is important or urgent. Please don't tempt me, and don't do someone's job. Thou shalt not tempt me. Right.
Quadrant 3 tasks or duties are tasks and duties that are urgent but not important. Somebody bumps into your office. Pastor, I just passed to say hi.
I saw your vehicle and
I decided to come. You see, there are many things, some calls, some emails fall in quadrant 3. Urgent but not important. Then quadrant 4 are unwanted tasks because they are not urgent, they are not important. You see, if you want to be effective, you must categorize your task into these 4 quadrants and know which ones are in quadrant 1, which ones are in quadrant 2, 3, and 4. When it comes to delegation, you should never delegate quadrant 1 items. Those are very important tasks and very urgent.
Now, sometimes when I'm on this side, I still enjoy.
Yeah.
Pastor Grace is saying, hapo kwa gym, iko sawa. She is just coming from the gym. Now she is on the other side.
Wow.
And she is very happy. Endelea kufurahi.
So when you're delegating, you mostly delegate quadrant 3 and 4.
Okay.
And actually 4, you may just ignore them.
They're not important.
Not important, not urgent. Even if, but you see people who are inefficient.
Do you have an example of not important, not urgent?
Yes. Social media. Most of the stuff we watch on social media, some TV programs, not urgent, not important.
Okay.
You can find somebody who is spending time watching soap operas and following the series. They don't educate, they don't inform, they just entertain.
Wow.
So they are not urgent, they are not important.
Yeah.
You see, so you find people who are ineffective and inefficient spend a lot of their time in quadrant 3 and 4. But if you want to be effective, you need to divide your tasks in. For example, you need to spend about 15% in quadrant 1, about 80% in quadrant 2, about 5% in quadrant 3, and close to 0% in quadrant 4.
Remind the viewer that quadrant 1 stands for?
Quadrant 1 is urgent and important tasks.
So 15% on that?
About 15%.
Okay.
Yeah, plus or minus maybe 2, 3, 4%.
Yeah.
Quadrant 2, spend most of your time there. For example, personal development is a quadrant 2 item. When you spend time, you see, it's not urgent, but it's quite important. Reading, studying, researching.
Yeah.
Leadership development, for example, as a pastor, you need to develop leaders within the church. It's not an urgent matter.
Yeah.
And most of the time you may not see the urgency of it, so you neglect it. But then you realize that it becomes urgent because you need to run on some programs and you need skilled leaders to run those programs, and you don't have any.
Wow.
So most of the items that jump from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1 is come about because of procrastination. We postpone them because they don't act on us.
Wow.
You see? So quadrant 3 are urgent and not important. Somebody just wants to call you and talk with you, and
feel nice.
Just feel nice about it. Yeah, it's quite urgent because the call is there, you can see it. You've not picked, they call you the second time and the third time. Now they are acting on you. You want to respond to it. That is why you find very busy executives and politicians, they have personal assistants that they delegate picking of certain phone calls to. And then the person will tell the PA, if so-and-so calls, give me the phone. That is urgent and important. The ones that are not important, just pick and tell them I'm busy, I'll call them later.
Or give you the message.
Yes, or send a message. Quadrant 4 are not urgent, not important. Those are time wasters. And if you really want to be effective as a leader, those are tasks that you ignore.
Those are also does it fall in the part of the people pass by, see your vehicle, and they just want to...
just want to come in and say hi.
Yeah, and they just know...
Just to...
whether there's anything...
Maybe gossip, maybe talk about politics. Shakahola.
And all these things.
And then you realize you've spent 1 hour with that person.
Wow. So you need to tell these people, help somebody who doesn't know how to... who feels like it is being disrespectful to tell someone, sorry, you are not within my budget today. How do you handle that?
You see, as leaders, we must be very firm on principles. We must have principles. You see, if you allow everybody into your space, you will not do much.
Yeah.
Somebody made a very profound statement and made this statement that I really like, that nothing less than a conscious commitment to the important is an unconscious commitment to the unimportant. So when you commit your time to the unimportant, what you are saying is that I'm not committed to the important. So you must decide which one is important.
Wow.
Which one is a priority for me? Which one will help me achieve the vision? Which one is within the purpose of the organization?
Wow.
Which one will help me reinforce my values or the values of the organization? See, at the end of the day, you are guided as a leader by the vision, by the purpose, and by the values.
Wow.
So if you have a vision, you will ask yourself, this task or this meeting, how does it contribute to the organization fulfilling its vision?
Yes.
Is it important? So in terms of defining importance, it is in regard or in relation to the vision.
Wow.
It is in relation to the purpose of the organization. You may do something that everybody else will think is important, but is it important to the organization? As a pastor, you may have attended a conference somewhere, and the conference was well attended, and we want to say it was powerful. But then you want to do a similar conference because the other one was powerful. The question you need to ask, how does it help the vision of the organization? Is it aligned with our vision? Most of the time it's not.
It's not. You just
So it's a time waster.
Yeah.
It's a time waster. So that is something that is not important.
So you say the first criteria before you delegate is
categorize. Categorize the tasks.
Do you have another way of also categorizing that is important versus urgent?
To me, that is the best.
That's the best.
Because why importance and why urgency? Importance in regard to aligning those tasks to the vision.
Yes.
And to the purpose of the organization.
So this leader, if we can sit down and draw the
chart, 4 quadrants,
and have his plan for in those, then you now know, what do I delegate?
What do I delegate?
And when you delegate, you know, okay, I don't want to jump before we get to the next level.
Right.
So you must know what to delegate.
That is the first point.
And now you have known how to delegate and what to delegate. We will go to how, and probably we think about to who.
To who?
Because not to everyone. I mean, sometimes people are very ready to receive a responsibility, but they don't have the capacity to handle it. You know,
that is true.
Available, but not
capable.
Ability, or not capable. And when we get to that level, we probably need now to ask ourselves, you have now defined what you need to delegate. Next thing,
then once you have decided what to delegate, you must, as you have said, you must know to whom you are delegating. So you see, part of leadership is empowering people, raising leaders, doing capacity building. So by the time you are delegating, there are people that you know that they will be able to handle this task. One, you've done a skills analysis of your people. You know this one is capable of doing this task, and I've been able to I've prepared them for this particular task. So you don't. One thing we need to help our viewers understand: there's a difference between delegation and dumping of work. Sometimes you can just dump work because you're overwhelmed. So you say, oh, this one, go and do this work. But it's dumping, it's not delegation.
Wow.
So we must know what delegation is.
So I think when you say that, for the sake of that person who is looking, is trying to type, doesn't know what to type, wonder, lift the hand, cannot ask directly, let me ask the question. How do you tell somebody is dumping and someone is delegating? Because that's, I need to help someone.
Yes.
We're just about to receive a task, but is not aware whether somebody is dumping it to me, on me, or someone is delegating.
One, when you are delegating, the expectations must be very clear. The assigned task must be very specific. This is what I am handing over to you. These are the results I am expecting, and these are the timelines.
Okay.
So those must be very clear. This is the expected deliverable on this task. And this is the timeline. I need it within 7 days.
Yes.
And once you delegate, you are not going to micromanage. You just give expectation, and then you allow people that you've prepared to handle such tasks to do it. But then, of course, you'll be able to follow up and see how they are doing it. You can give corrective, you can do corrective action, and so that you allow them to do it in the way that you want it. But you don't do it for them. You don't micromanage and say, okay, do this, do that, do that. No, you don't do that. Dumping, on the other hand, your desk is full, and you realize that everything is acting on you, and there are timelines and there are reports you need to do, and then you say, you pick your phone and say, so and so, come here, please go and handle this. One, you've not prepared them for that. Secondly, these are not tasks that you've categorized as these ones we need to delegate. It's just because of the pressure of time.
You know,
yeah.
My director tells me, we need to take a short break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we are going to explain this.
Yeah.
The difference between delegation and dumping of work.
Yes.
In a, you know, somebody wants us to do it slowly. And then Elizabeth Kenya says, learning a lot, dumping and delegating is different.
Yeah.
Florence Amandi says, please repeat quadrant 3. I think you repeated that, but if you need it repeated, write that comment again. I will know that you are writing after we end repeating. We are taking a very short break, and then after that we'll be back and continue. I'm sure you are enjoying the show. What I ask you to do is keep on sharing, call people, tell them. Leadership is back. It's a Tuesday morning. We'll be back in a moment.
Nico Works Notas is a program that comes to you on Elevate TV every Friday at 7:30 p.m. In this program, we dwell into the journey of small and micro enterprises in the country.
Tulikuwa tunafulia watu manguo, wengine walikuwa wameandikwa house girls, lakini saa hii tumetoka hapo.
You can get the story from domestic workers to people handling 150,000 shillings per month. They're just 13 people. We look at the challenges that they're facing.
The city council will harass you for anything, whether you have documents or not. Roads, traffic, such things really affect us.
And we tap into the opportunities available in the sector.
Hiyo unit tulikuwa tunaambiwa tusikue employees, tujaribu tukue ma employers. So nikaamua naweza anzisha kakao kadogo mashinani.
So nikaona badala niuze gas pekee, nikaanza na vitabu kidogo, books za kuandika na stationery. Nikasoga hivyo, after some time nikaona I still can sell the textbooks.
Join me, Collins Otas, every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Elevate TV, and let us journey together in this show.
There's no nation, no town, no city without fathers.
Being a Holy Spirit-driven church is New Testament.
The quality of the message, it was based in Acts chapter 2.
And I took my Bible and I went from street to street. Is anybody dead here?
We never met those miracles a reason to appeal for money or to be known. No.
Tracing the Mantles is a program whose core is to identify mantle carriers from our fathers.
Then Catholic woman stood and he was sliding everywhere. He said, oh yes, now this is the black Catholic woman.
But these are not only mantles, but spiritual authorities that have paid the cost, stood the test of time.
You are given 6 hours to leave the country.
And made lots of sacrifices for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Many of us invested in the school, college, university ministry.
But these are not only mantles, but spiritual authorities.
One of the things that bring revival in this country is the power of the Holy Spirit, the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Catch Tracing the Mantles every Sunday from 8:30, hosted by Pastor Zunda Juma, only on Elevate TV.
Yeah, welcome back. I just told you it would just be 2 minutes, and it didn't. There were 2 minutes. Sometimes you wonder whether there were 2 minutes because just before you swallow some water, the time is here. And we are back. Thank you. Remember, the show is on leadership, and my guest is Bishop Erick Koitani. This man of God, he is helping us. Man of God, you are God sent.
We thank God.
You are helping us.
Thank God.
Just before we went on break, somebody saying slowly. The delegation versus dumping. And I think you done so well when you mentioned that when we were on dumping now. Yeah. You said you find your table is full and you want to offload, you throw it to anyone without caring how that goes. So do you want to say something before we move to the next one?
Yeah. I think it needs to be clear that you are delegating, because the people that you delegate to, you must be interested in their development.
Yeah.
You're not just going to overwhelm them with the tasks that you push away from your desk. One, you've not prepared them for such tasks. They do not have the skills. They may not even have the tools to undertake those tasks.
Yeah.
You just want to push them away from your desk. That is dumping. When you are delegating, you have prepared these people, you have coached them, you have trained them, you've done capacity building, and you've given them the tools that they need to undertake those tasks. And when you delegate, you don't just give responsibility. Sometimes you also you also give some level of authority for them to be able to undertake some tasks. Sometimes you want to give tasks away, but you don't give away authority. So it becomes difficult for the people that you delegate to perform those tasks. So it should be intentional what you are doing. You want to build these people.
Yeah.
You don't want to tire them. You want to build them.
So in delegation, you delegate authority, you delegate responsibility.
Yes.
But then you also give your expectation.
Yes, you must give expectation.
Yes.
What is the deliverable?
Yeah.
What do you expect from the person that you've delegated to?
So this is what I expect.
Yes.
The way you go about it.
That is up to you.
Now develop ways of working.
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Because now the other way is micromanagement.
Micromanagement.
You do it, I delegate,
yes.
You must do it my way.
Yes.
If it is not my way, then
you're always on the person's case. No, this is not how you do it. You should do it this way. That is micromanagement.
Wow.
Yeah. And it doesn't help the person.
It doesn't because
you are trying to recreate yourself in the person. Yeah, and people are different. The way they do things are different.
Wow. Yeah. In the course of delegation, of course, you have ever seen delegation that never worked. Whether in a church or in the political spheres. What last lessons did you ever learn from that?
One, people need to be prepared to handle tasks.
Okay.
That is the work of capacity building. You must train people. You must encourage them to continue developing their skills.
Yeah.
And you must help them to get some experience. If you work in large companies, you find that one way in which they prepare people to be able to handle certain tasks is that they rotate them in departments.
Okay.
So if it's an organization with several departments, and you want to build these people maybe into future leaders, so you take them to one department maybe for 6 months, so they acquire some skills, they understand the operating environment of that department. Then after 6 months, you take them to a different department, so that they build skills and they have experience in handling different matters. So that when you delegate, for example, leadership duty, somebody is not fresh, is not new.
Wow.
These are things that they have handled before. But when delegation fails, either it fails because the person you delegate to is not well primed for those duties, or maybe they do not have the tools they require to perform those tasks, or maybe they started performing those tasks and the feedback that is required was not given when it was required. Because you need to give constant feedback. Remember, you are not just delegating for the task to be done. You are also helping this person to be developed.
Wow.
So you give feedback on how things should be done. You give feedback on how they are performing, and also encourage them. So when these things are not done in the way they should be done, then delegation fails.
Okay.
Yeah.
In most delegated responsibilities, when they fail, the leader is blamed.
The leader is blamed, and most of the time, if we have a weak leader, they'll want to blame the people who have not done the task.
Yes. So, so that blame is never pushed to whoever.
Yes.
What needs to be done by either parties? Of course, one is training.
Yes.
The other side.
Training is required. Most of the responsibility is on the leader. Yeah, because you see, the buck stops with you. So one, you have to give the resources that are required to the people that you delegate tasks to.
Yes.
One, they need to have the right tools. For example, if I tell you, I give you a document to type, and you don't have an access to a computer, how will you type it? So the tools must be available for you to perform your task. For example, if I send you, if I delegate a task of doing research to a subordinate, and I don't provide the financial resources to do that research, they may not be able to do it.
Now, man of God.
Yes.
Let me now bring you down to the church a bit.
Right.
We want to look at church planting
as
a delegation. Okay. Delegation.
Yes.
You know, I can't be in Karen preaching there, but I want somebody to go there and have a church there.
You want to open a branch.
Want to open a branch.
Right.
And I'm delegating there.
Yes.
And you have talked about this delegation, which is very powerful. Have you seen how we do it in our circles? Shika Bibilia.
Go and open a branch.
Go open a branch.
Yeah.
When we are there, the people call me.
Yes.
Is it a style of doing it? Because I see that has been used severally. Is this what is your take about that?
People may do it that way, and they may have certain levels of success. But I don't think it's the way to do it. We have very good patterns in the Bible. For example, how delegation was done. For example, Jesus, when he was training the disciples, he took time to build them, teach them, to tell them, to inspire them, to tell them who he was. And now when he was sending them out, for example, in Luke chapter 9, Luke chapter 10, first he sends out the 12, then he sends out the 70 or 72, depending on which gospel you are reading. By the time he's sending them out, these people are well primed for the work. He says, I've given you authority, and you go out and preach the gospel, heal the sick, cast out devils. He did not send them to cast out devils without power. He gave them power to do that. He taught them and he trained them on how to heal, so they were able to do it. Then he sends them out. You see, you can't send somebody you have not prepared them for that task, and then you need results. It doesn't work. See, for example, allow me to say this, that in the church, when we delegate, there are things we need to delegate, there are things we should not delegate. The work of a pastor is one of the most, for lack of a better word, one of the most demanding jobs, I think, in the entire world. People want you to preach, people want you to smile with them, people want you to weep with them. You may smile now, after 1 hour you're supposed to go and weep with somebody. They want you to attend birthday parties, they want you to attend funeral, they want you to advise them on business, they want you to counsel them on marriage. They want, you see, the work of a pastor, you need to know what to do at what time and what not to do. So the work of the pastor, because there are a lot of things that demand your time, the pastor needs to know which things to focus most of his time on. And just allow me to share this. I've been able to learn that there are about 7 things that the pastor needs to focus most of his time on. The others they can delegate.
How many?
7.
Because there are 7,
yes.
Allow me to just read some comments
Right.
so that I will not interject.
Yes.
I also want to listen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nyawira says, I'm tuned in. Then Judith says, I'm watching. Nahashan says, feedback and encouragement are key for better execution. Hapo ndio amekamata saindi. Then I want to also read some, because as I told you the other time, sometimes I'm accused of being in YouTube and not reading the comment on Facebook. So allow me to read a few. Pastor Watata still camped here. Says, leo kuna watu wamepatikana. Dumping of work and delegation is not one at the same time. Yeah, that's the same thing. Pastor Jeff says, dumping, I hear you twice. Dumping, delegating, micromanaging, that is key. Thank you, Pastor Jeff, for watching and commenting. Michael Chia, this man is watching all the way from Zambia, I told you. Great insights. I'm passionate about leadership, and this is a blessing. My hunger. Yeah, this is powerful. And then we have, Florence. Thank you, Florence. Elizabeth Kenya says, learning a lot, dumping and delegation and delegating are different. So there are 7 things that you are talk about. Please go on now. I'm on this other side now, listening and writing notes.
These 7 things, if a pastor can focus on these 7 things, then they can improve on their effectiveness. Because a pastor is required to do maybe 600 things. And many pastors do not know how to divide the time. Each one of us has 24 hours in a day. Then you must be able, remember, leadership is doing the right thing. So if you have 600 things to do, which is the right one to do? So a leader should be able to know which are these right things to do. So in the space of pastoring,
we agreed, yes. You have to say that again.
Yes.
Leadership is doing the right thing.
Yes.
Not doing things right.
Yes.
Right.
And they're doing the right thing. So that right thing must be defined. So if you have 600 things to do, you may find yourself doing most of the wrong things, and you are doing them rightly. So you do not become effective.
Yes.
So you find after 10 years you are not even near the vision that you set to achieve.
Yes.
So number 1, pastors are required to prepare sermons and to preach. Once in a while they may be able to, as they are raising people under them, they may delegate. But you see, you cannot totally delegate preaching and preparing sermons.
Oh yeah.
That is your number 1 priority. Number 2, prayer and fasting. There are pastors who delegate prayer and fasting. They can go on with their meetings and they tell the intercessors, go and fast and pray for the church. You can't delegate prayer and fasting, very important.
You must pray.
You must pray, you must fast. This kind goeth not except by prayer and fasting.
Yes.
So there are things you're not able to deal with unless you fast and pray.
So Pastor, you who delegated the prayer signs, you also became a prayer item. You better take your responsibility.
Yeah.
Nobody can pray for you enough.
Yes. You need to pray. You go to so many keshas, the senior pastor is not there.
Yes.
He has delegated to the assistant pastor. The morning glory,
Yeah.
the senior pastor is not there. They have delegated prayer.
Yeah.
That is something you shouldn't delegate. Number 3, evangelism and soul winning.
Yeah.
You find the pastor is seated in the office doing counseling, and he has sent the evangelistic team to go.
Yeah, the 72.
The 72.
72. Let them bring reports.
Yeah, go and bring us new souls.
Do you know, man of God, as you put like that, I think it's good for us to throw this challenge to every servant of God. It is good that every year for you to sit back and do a recount of your year and see how many souls did you bring to Jesus Christ. Because it's possible to become a manager, managing the souls that God saved somewhere else. Please go out there, win a souls for the Lord. The greatest work that God gave us is to win souls for the Lord. So please, men of God, listen to this, and every one of us listening, every leader listening, make sure that you win a soul for the Lord. If possible, every day, win a soul for the Lord. Thank you, sir.
So that is number 3. Number 4 is personal development. You can get bogged down by the busyness of ministry, and you forget to develop yourself as a pastor. What time do you spend studying? Nobody will study the Word of God for you.
Yes.
Nobody will read books for you. Nobody will go to conferences and seminars for you. You must create time and continually develop yourself. Because if you don't, you'll find most of the people you are raising going ahead of you. In terms of knowledge, in terms of ability. So you must create time for personal development as a pastor. That one you can't delegate.
You know, you remind me of a story of this man who, there's one of my guests here who told me this story of a man. There was a group ahead of him, and he was behind running after them. So he was saying, hey, where are you going? He says, you see that group? I'm their leader. I'm catching up. So
she's riding
you
behind
don't develop yourself, you'll be catching up.
Yeah, they'll go ahead of you.
Yeah.
Number 5. Number 5 is leading.
Wow. Reading.
You must lead. As a pastor, you can't delegate leading. And no amount of management can compensate for lack of leadership. You can be the best of manager, but if you don't lead, there's no effectiveness.
Wow.
So you must lead. Number 6 is building and developing leaders for tomorrow. You can't delegate that.
You have to do it yourself.
You have to do it yourself.
Yes.
You must identify, you must program, you must be able to come up with a way of raising leaders within the church.
Yes.
Yeah, because leaders who understand your values, who understand the vision, even if you bring people from outside, they may not share the same values that you have.
Yeah.
So they'll be discordant in the way they interact with the other people. You must raise leaders from within. So that is an undelegatable duty of the pastor. Then lastly, meeting the felt needs of the members.
Okay.
There are members that, you see, there are 2 kinds of needs that members have. They have the real need and they have the felt need.
The real need
and the felt need.
Okay.
Somebody can come who has a marital problem. That is the felt need. But the real need is they need Jesus.
Yeah.
That is the real need.
Wow.
So when they come with the felt needs, those needs should be met. Even as you work on giving them the real need that they have, with Jesus Christ or eternal life that they need.
Wow.
So these 7 functions of a pastor, amidst the 600 or 700, you'll find a pastor spending all his time in attending birthdays and funerals and not working on this. If you categorize these 7, you'll find them they are quadrant 1 and 2 tasks.
Let me do a test now.
Yes.
If you are listening and you are there, now that you told me you're watching, you're tuning and you are there, can you type among those 7 that the man of God has talked about? Can you type the ones you have caught? Because sometimes I've seen people say they are listening, but they are not getting it.
Yes.
So let me see, write it down there. Type a few of those that you have caught. We want to hear from you. And I'll be reading what you'll be writing. I am here, camped here. So it's very important that the pastor delegate, but know what
to
is
delegate.
Not delegatable.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
this is my department.
Yes.
You know, I've seen even presidents, even when they are under pressure, their key posts or key ministerial posts, even if you put him under any pressure, you will never release.
No, it
even
doesn't
if you
seem
say
it.
we must share power,
Yes.
50-50, nusu mukate, they are key ones.
They hold on to it.
Finance,
security, internal security.
That one.
They don't give it away.
They don't give it away. These are non-negotiables. And I think that is very powerful. Now, for delegation to work, I hear loyalty is important. Tell us about loyalty and delegation.
Loyalty works on both sides. One, the one that you are delegating to needs to be loyal. Loyal to who? Loyal to you as a leader, but also loyal to the values and to the organization.
Yeah.
Because one, remember we said that when you delegate, you achieve a win-win for the leader, for the organization, and for the individual to whom the work is entrusted to.
Yeah.
So that person must be loyal to the organization. He must be loyal to the leader. Otherwise, they may you may delegate work to be done, and if they are not loyal, they may mess you up. Yeah, so loyalty is important from that perspective.
Wow.
On the other perspective, you who is delegating to, say, person X, you must be loyal to them. One, how do you show loyalty? Because you are interested in their growth. So you're not just going to dump things and say, work on this. You are interested, you know what you are handing over to them is going to increase their skills, is going to empower them. And you are going to coach and train them. So that is how loyalty comes in when you are delegating.
Wow.
And you are not just going to give them work that you just want to expose their weaknesses. No, you want to build them. So you are loyal to them. You are loyal to their growth. You are loyal to their aspirations. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is good. Let me, now, I can tell who was listening. Let's read a few comments.
Yeah.
Losarid Mongera says, reading the Bible, prayer and fasting, leading, personal development. Nahashon Masharia says, meeting the felt need of members, building and developing future leaders, reading, personal development. Did you say reading or leading?
Leading.
Okay.
Yes.
Pastor, yes, you can also add leading on reading.
Yes.
Then evangelism and soul winning, prayer and fasting, preparing sermon and preaching.
Yes.
Grace Muriithi starts with the preparing sermon and leading, prayer and fasting, personal development, developing leaders, meeting felt needs, and leading.
Yes.
Oh, you are doing a good job, people. As I say, let me also read some from our other county called Facebook. This county, we have Bernard Mogo says leadership, doing right things, not doing things right. I underline. And then Liz Mark says personal development. Thank you, Liz, for listening. Pastor Jeff says preaching and preparing sermons, reading, personal capacity building. Pastor Watata is still typing. Okay. Says 7 things every pastor must focus on. Prepare sermon and preaching. Prayer and fasting. Evangelism and soul winning. Personal development. Leading. Building and developing leaders for tomorrow. Meeting the felt needs of the members. This class is doing very well. I can assure you, all those students are A material. Everybody has done a great job there, and I am happy. We are doing well. That's why I told you.
They are promoted to the next class.
Yeah, they are promoted. Now, the principal has spoken that you have all qualified to the next class. Work very hard, because the next thing is you may get a job, especially when it comes to delegation from the principal's office. Yeah, so I also want to say something in a very short time, because you know, this topic, man of God, there are so many people who have really suffered. They say I delegated. When I came, I found, especially pastors, me and delegated the church, somebody saying, when I came, I even passed the church looking for it. Yeah. You know what that means?
Things had been changed.
Yeah, even the signboard.
Even the name.
The name is changed. Even past its own church thinking. So many pastors have been crying and feeling like they should not have done it. I am sure some have learned through this, but I am sure you may want to encourage someone and say, hey, no matter what happens, you have learned something, you can still go back and do something. Just give an encouragement to someone.
Okay. And I know men and women of God go through very trying moments, especially when people that you invested time and prayers and energy on stab you on the back. They show disloyalty, they betray you. But I think you need not give up on raising more people. You have been given an assignment by God. At the end of the day, the church does not belong to you. It belongs to Jesus Christ. And so long as you're doing what is right, before God, you will have a reward. So even if somebody slices a chunk of that church and goes away with it, I know it hurts because you spend money, you spend energy, you spend time. At the end of the day, you have not died for the church. It is Jesus who died for the church. So be encouraged. God will surely reward your work that you are doing for him. So be encouraged.
Well, be encouraged. Remember, it is not your work. This is Jesus' work. At the end of the day, we want to hear the Lord say, well done, good and faithful servant. This man of God has written very many books. I tell you, this man has written great books. And I've read many of his books, and I want to tell you, you better call the number that he is about to give you, order all the copies of his books. It will be a blessing to read more. Remember, he has just given us a little of what he has written, but you can get to read his books and hear him more, even when he is not in the show. So, man of God, tell us about your books and where one can get them, and you can mention a few of them.
All right. By the grace of God, I've been able to do 13 books so far. They're available on a number of bookshops locally. They're also available on a number of a number of online shops, among them Amazon.com, dmox.co.uk, bookshop.com, among many others. But if you need to get it quicker, then you can reach me on my WhatsApp number, 0721 475 497. Let me say that again, 0721 475 497. So these books cover the topics of prayer. There are 3 books on prayer, the fundamentals of prayer, power for prayer, and why your prayers are not getting answered. We also have books touching on the kingdom of priests, God's kingdom government, and the kingdom way of prosperity. We have a book on marriage, very good book on marriage, marriage from glory to glory. We have a book on inheritance, the believer's inheritance, among many more. So you can reach me on WhatsApp. You can also go to Amazon.com and get my books.
Wow, it will be a blessing to get a comment that they say, after the show, I bought the books by this man, I rent them, and this is what more I got. It will be a blessing. As I wind up, I want to remind you that we will still continue with these shows and others. Go to Apostle Patrick Muriithi YouTube, subscribe there. We'll be getting more. Remember, I've always told you, there is what we call a story with Apostle Patrick. It will be coming again tonight, and it will be a blessing. I also want to welcome you to fellowship with us, Gospel Celebration Church. We're in Kayole. As I've always said, something good can come out of Kayole. It will be a blessing. Keep, interacting with us. We'll be happy to meet again on Tuesday. From our side, we want to say God bless you, and keep you. We will be talking again on Tuesday, this time and in this show. God bless you.
God bless you.
Shalom.